Hello, welcome to listen to a book every day. I'm Jen, who is struggling for his dreams every day. The book I read for you today is Minimalism. What is minimalism? Summarizing the point of this book in one sentence. Minimalism is a thinking tool. It encourages people to get rid of the unimportant things in life and focus on the most important things. Minimalism originally referred to an art fiction. In recent years, it has spread to the realm of lifestyle. While this book say only refers to minimalism in lifestyle and philosophy. In recent years, the wave of minimalism lifestyle has become popular in the United States, and the most influential representative among them are the authors of this book, Joshua Phil Milburn and Ryan Nicodemus. They created the Minimalist.com, a website that promotes minimalism, which has more than 4 million followers. Their story was reported by many media, including Time, Forbes, and New York Times. Their minimalism life philosophy and practice allow many people to live a way to improve their happiness index by owning fewer items. Joshua, the author of this book, has always been a young and promising elite. He is a corporate executive and looks very happy. A beautiful wife with an annual salary of $1 million when he was in his early 20s, a luxury car and a mansion. He is a workaholic and only gives himself less than 5 days of rest a year. In fact, he was under a lot of pressure, more and more unhappy. So he expected those things that the media hyped up would make him happy and kept buying. But he found that doing so just piled up more rubbish in the house, and the short-term pleasure brought by each shopping dissipated rapidly, and happiness did not increase. After several life changes, his mother passed away, divorced, and his life fell to the bottom. Joshua determined to change. He lost 90% of the things in his house, and finally, only 288 items were left, but each of them must be cherished. He even quit his job, canceled the internet at home, and led a minimalist life. This kind of life gave Joshua more energy to focus on realizing dreams, reading and influencing others, and he felt unprecedented freedom. Later, with his help, his friend Ryan led a minimalist life in just 21 days. This book records some suggestions and reflections on their lifestyles in the past 10 years of practicing minimalism. In today's listening book, I will interpret this minimalism for you from 3 aspects. In the first part, let's look how Joshua set foot on the minimalism. In the second part, I will introduce 2 thinking tools of minimalism. One is the lever of influence that enhances execution, and the other is the anchor that helps us reduce the burden of attention. This book mainly shares the concept of minimalism, and there are more practical suggestions on their website, Minimalist. So for the last part, I selected a few methods mentioned on their website, and you can immediately get started. Okay, let's take a look at this minimalism. The first part, if you want to try minimalism, you must first release your obsession with objects. But if anyone wants to throw away most of his belongings, he will definitely be reluctant. In fact, this kind of reluctance is a normal emotional link between people and things. Among the many reluctant stories, the hardest one I read in this book is also an opportunity for Joshua to start minimalism. After Joshua's mother passed away in 2009, he went to sort out her mother's belongings. The mother's home is full of antique furniture and art collections, which is of great value. If calculated at the market price, it is worth more than 3 apartments. Joshua discovered that it would cost almost $10,000 to transport these things by truck and rent a storage room every year. But he had already lost his mother and he didn't want to lose his mother's things anymore. So he spent a week packing all his mother's belongings by himself. He found 4 sealed boxes under the bed, which contained every piece of paper that Joshua had scribbled in elementary school. Obviously, the mother had not opened those sealed boxes for many years. Even so, she still kept these things because she wanted to keep all the clips about the growth of her son, just as Joshua tried to keep everything about her at this moment. Joshua suddenly understood that her mother actually didn't need to use things from 25 years ago to remember him, and she didn't need to open those boxes under the bed. She also remembered his childhood and everything about him, just as he doesn't need to rely on the red list in the house to remember his mother. Mother's traces are everywhere in Joshua's behavior, even in his smile. Mother has always been there, but she's not in those things. The things of affection are not as important as we think. The following week, Joshua made a difficult decision. He donated all his mother's things to charity organizations. These items that Joshua saw can only add to the sorrow, but may have practical uses for others. The point is that he understands one thing, which is also the core of minimalism. That is, the objects we own cannot represent us. Joshua later realized that in this age of consumerism, people not only put emotions on the goods, but also believe in them. People always believe that happiness can be achieved by sticking to what they believe in. Many people choose to worship material things. Once they feel unhappy, they will buy and buy as if they believe that owning clothes, shoes, bags, and luxury cars will lead to real happiness. Once they can buy it, they won't be happy. Is it real? Joshua thinks it is very suspicious that you can get happiness by buying things. He suggested that we list the 10 most valuable things that we have, such as cars and houses, and then write down 10 things that make you the happiest, such as playing with children and spending time with family. You will find that the most valuable things can only bring a sense of certainty, and there is no relationship between those valuable things and the happiest experience. His mother's death made him regret not being filial to her earlier. He found that he had always neglected to care for his relatives, which should have been one of the most important things, and handling his mother's belongings made him realize that life was full of useless items. At this moment, Joshua read the story of Colin Wright on the internet. Colin is a writer. He claims to be a minimalist. Colin is always traveling. His entire property is only 72 things, and all his property can be put into his backpack. What Joshua admired most was that Colin exuded happiness, excitement, and enthusiasm. He loved his life. Joshua admired Colin very much, but didn't want to live his life like that. He does not intend to travel the world, nor does he want to hold less than 100 things. So Joshua began to explore whether there is any other way to be as happy and free as Colin, and to live decently in the city. The second part, Joshua found that if you want to improve your happiness index and quality of life, you have to score the priority. Distinguishing priority means knowing what is important, what is unimportant. Here, Joshua gives the 2 most important thinking tools in minimalist life. First of all, when facing of important things we need to strengthen our execution. Making good use of the lever of influence can help us strengthen our execution. What is lever of influence? You can understand it as, in the face of an important and non-urgent things, we can encourage ourselves to realize it by increasing its urgency. The reason is actually very simple. For example, if you tell yourself seriously, I must exercise, you will bring significantly different executive power than only discussing with yourself and saying that I should exercise. To achieve some goals, you must turn should into must. I must read every day and I must quit smoking. When a new habit cannot be maintained, it is often because of difficulty of seeing long-term benefits from that change. When you must do something, you cannot choose to refuse. The minimalist chooses to get rid of unnecessary things and the rest, the important things. And what is important and what is redundant in life is entirely up to you. If you don't know what you must do, you can refer to Joshua's advice. He believes that the 5 key words in life are health, interpersonal relationships, and enthusiasm, growth, and dedication. He believes that investing time and energy on these keywords is the most important, especially health. For example, Joshua stipulates that he exercises at least 18 minutes a day. Most of us spend at least 3 or 4 hours on our mobile phones every day. Even for 5 or 6 hours, spending 18 minutes a day to take care of your body is not too much. Exercising and caring for family members are both important and non-urgent things, but because of the compound interest of time, they are often the most important. Minimalism is to encourage people to remember the most important things soberly at all times, because soberness is the most precious freedom. Prioritizing things that are important, rather than being led by trivia and objects, you can make the complete world simple and real. Second, get rid of those unimportant things. The specific suggestion is to reduce the burden on our attention by reflecting on the anchor. After discarding those superfluous things in life, we can better distinguish the priorities. What is an anchor? An anchor refers to everything that prevents us from leading a happy and fulfilling life. For example, Joshua has been working hard in the past, wanting to get a big house and high salary he desperately desires through work. He was successful in his career and got these things, but he was not happy. The first step in solving the problem is to recognize the problem. Joshua tries to write down all the unhappy things within a week. This is the anchor in his life. You can also take a piece of paper and try to list your anchors. Joshua actually listed 83 anchors. He then arranged the listed anchors in order of priority and divided them into 2 categories: main anchors or primary anchors and secondary anchors. The main anchors are the most obvious things that hinder our freedom, including houses and mortgages, non-nutritives, social relationships, work that kills people, and other things that take a lot of time but don't add corresponding value to life. Secondary anchors occupies most of the list, including TV fees, internet fees, unworn clothes, daily commuting time, and other small things that consume a small amount of our time and attention. Getting rid of the anchor will allow us to regain a lot of time that was originally our own. The main anchor seems to be the most difficult to deal with, and he starts with this part. For example, although Joshua's monthly salary was more than $100,000, even every penny he earned was squandered and even brought him additional debt. The shame and law prevented him from resigning, and he has never dared to try his dream of becoming a full-time writer. In order to get rid of the anger, he stopped eating luxurious dinners and stopped buying the latest electronic products. In the end, after 2 years, he paid off all loans and debts and quit his job. He pulled down one anchor after another, concentrating on reading and writing, and chasing his dreams. Unexpectedly, he became more successful after quitting his job. And more importantly, he was happier and freer. The third part. Most modern people have a secondary anchor, which is too many useless items and too many useless information. The problem is that when we want to streamline items, we always get stuck in the beginning. In a pile of items, it is really difficult to decide which one is useful and which one is useless. Therefore, we need to use some rules to help us better examine objects. Joshua did a series of life experiments to streamline his belongings. He summarized some rules and published them on his website. I selected a few inspiring suggestions that were immediately available to me and shared them with you. The first rule for the wardrobe is actually the season rule. Take out an item you want to deal with, preferably clothes, and ask yourself, have you used it in the past 90 days? If not, do you plan to use it in the next 90 days? For example, if spring is here, you plan to change the season of your wardrobe and do a general cleaning. You pick up one old sweater. You can ask yourself, are you wearing this dress lately in spring? In the past 90 days in winter, have you worn this dress? In the next 90 days in summer, will you wear this dress? If there is a yes in the answers to these 3 questions, then you can keep the dress. If it is not, you can throw away the dress, give it away, or donate it. 90 days before and after the present, there is almost half a year, enough to cover most of the clothing demand and weather temperature throughout the year. There is also a classification method which is more universal than the season rule. Whether it's in a drawer or home, the contents can be divided into 3 piles. The first pile is necessities. Without these things, we can't live a normal life, such as food, house, clothes, etc. And the necessary items for each of us are similar. The second pile is non-essential. Ideally, most of our items should belong to this pile. These things make our lives better, such as sofas, bookshelves, and dining tables. For example, I actually don't have a bookshelf, but with a bookshelf, I will manage my book more conveniently. The third pile is garbage. Regrettably, most of people's things fall into this category. In this pile of garbage, we think we like them very much, but they don't actually bring us happiness. For example, souvenirs bought during travel, clothes, shoes, and bags that have not been worn after purchasing, such as ornaments and toys piled in gray on the corner of the wall. Garbage will pretend to be useful and stay in your room, but without them, you won't have any loss. If you want to streamline things, you should start with this pile of things first. In addition to throwing out rubbish, it is more important to stop buying rubbish. Becoming a minimalist does not mean that you do not buy things. The point is, when buying a new item, you have to be aware to bring this item into your life, not just feel the impulse of shopping. Therefore, we need to manage items from the source. This brings us to the second rule. Based on the principle of 1 entry and 1 exit, Joshua proposed the 1 entry and 10 exit rule. That is, to buy 1 thing, you need to dispose of 10 things. Fancy a shirt, it can be bought, but he has to donate 10 pieces of his clothes. In this way, all his new purchases are well thought out, something he likes very much, and he is willing to dispose of 10 other things. In this way, while collecting good things, while weeding out more things, Joshua has fewer and fewer things, getting better and better, and he can save more and more money. This principle is very safe and suitable for people who are just starting to experiment with minimalism. If you feel that most of the things at home are very upsetting you, you can also take a radical approach, such as taking parties. The other author of this book, Ryan, used this method to get rid of all the garbage at home in one step. Taking party means pretending that you are moving on a whim and you only have one day to pack all your belongings. Ryan and Joshua spent 8 hours packing all the things in Ryan's kitchen, dining room, living room, and 3 bedrooms. Cover the furniture with blankets and lift them up when you use them. After you have packed it, take it out when you need it. If you need a toothbrush today, you just take the toothbrush out of the box. Need shampoo and shower gel when taking a bath? Take it out. Which dress do you want to wear? Take it out. You can set a time such as 21 days or 3 months. When the time is up, you can directly dispose all the leftovers in the box. Although this method sounds too radical, Ryan hasn't come up with anything. Since the 11th day, after the 21st day, 80% of his boxes had not been opened. As soon as the 21st day arrived, he directly donated the boxes that haven't been opened, and immediately reaped a clean and refreshing home. Why is minimalism, including the decluttering popular in East Asia in recent years, so obsessed with streamlining materials? You know, everything is placed not only in the room but also in our hearts. For example, there is a vase at home. Not only do we need to find a place to put it, we also need to remember, on the bottom floor of the closet, there is a vase. Now, an ordinary urban family can easily have more than 10,000 items, and these items are all packed in our hearts. Isn't the mind devoted to important affairs naturally less? It is more important to manage attention than to manage substances. And the thing that wastes our attention most is browsing unnecessary information on the internet. Of course, Joshua also noticed this. In order to free his attention, he did a very courageous experiment. He cancelled the network at home. This sounds incredible. Joshua runs a popular website. How could he have no internet at home? If Joshua wants to surf the internet for a long time, he will leave home. He will go to the library, coffee shop, or other places with Wi-Fi, order a cup of coffee or some food, and complete all the things that need the internet, such as publishing articles and preparing materials. If he usually has something he wants to watch online, he will save it on his mobile phone and then use the computer to view it when he is connected to the internet. Because in public, he will enter a highly conscious state of work, and he is very efficient in doing non-creative things, such as replying into emails and looking up information. And those creative things, such as writing and designing websites, can be done without the internet at home, and they will be done better. You might say, this is too extreme. I won't cancel the network. I need the internet to check information, write homework, and do our work. But Joshua believes that these things can actually be done in public. Besides, at home, we spend more time on the internet to watch videos, play games, and buy things we don't actually need on shopping websites. Joshua said, the internet is not bad, just like candy is not bad. But if you have to eat 2 big bags of candy every day, you will quickly gain weight and become sick. Therefore, I will not stock up a few bags of candy at home, just like I no longer keep the internet at home. Regardless of whether the internet is installed at home or not, the important thing is that we have to be clear about the purpose of the internet. Joshua believes that the internet is a tool to strengthen life, nothing more. He doesn't pay attention to things that have nothing to do with making yourself better on the internet. Joshua admitted that he will also watch funny videos, but when watching funny videos, he was also very clear that his goal was to get half an hour to happy time with carefree jingles. The key is whether we are using the internet consciously. From then on, he is no longer long for the internet as before. In the past, he became confused when he left the computer and mobile phone. Now he can write quietly and attentively. He found that his thinking became clearer and more complete. As mentioned earlier, it is his dream to become a writer. After Joshua canceled the network, he wrote several best-selling books. He still has more time to do things he likes more, such as fitness exercises. In the years after experimenting with a minimalist life, Joshua lost 35 kilograms. He feels that his home has become very peaceful, and every time he goes home, he is calm and relaxed. His mental state becomes more focused, and his emotions are less tense. In addition, as a result of leaving home and working in a public place, Joshua also made several new friends. You see, even with a few small suggestions, we can also feel that living a minimalist life actually requires a lot of determination and courage. What Joshua and Ryan did is very brave. They dare to abandon those things that most people dare not abandon. They dare to abandon certainty and get out of their comfort zone. The pursuit of complete security and certainty will trap oneself in the current state of life and fail to grow. We must give up some sense of security in order to try more possibilities in life, and in that possibility, there may be an answer to the question you are puzzled by. In fact, Joshua and Ryan are reluctant to write too many action suggestions in the book because they are worried that people will bound by rules and turn minimalism into a strict and dogmatic code of conduct. They believe that minimalists can have a lot of things. They can succeed in their careers, and they can also be happy to make money. The key is that we have to think carefully and answer, what is the most important thing? Give the most time and energy to the most important things in life, and remove the substances and emotions that do not nourish us. And this is the minimalist life. Well, this book is over now. To sum up, minimalism is a thinking tool that encourages people to remove the unimportant things in life and focus on the most important things. We have come to know the two thinking tools of minimalism. One is the lever of influence that enhances execution, and the other is the anchor that helps us reduce the burden of attention. There are several ways to manage substances, such as the season rules for wardrobes. When buying, we can adopt the principle 1 in and 10 out. If you want to live a minimalist life faster, you can try packing party. The core idea of minimalism is to distinguish between primary and secondary things, distinguish between important and unimportant things, and boldly discard unimportant things. Finally, I want to share with you my feelings about minimalism. It sounds very similar to decluttering. In fact, decluttering is more like a minimalist methodology, and they even have a little conflict in some aspects. The discussion of decluttering is based on material. Cut off means not buying things that are not needed. To let go means dealing with the useless things at home. To move on means abandoning the obsession with materials. This is a set of ideas from the items you own to the way of life. The point of minimalism is to pay attention to your feelings from the very beginning and advocate the full use of objects as much as possible. Of course, this also implies the notion of not possessing unwanted objects. But if you've been busy decluttering and broken up your relationship with your family, or don't have time to do what you like, this is precisely what minimalism opposes. The core of minimalism is not a lifestyle full of zen, no pastoral, no asceticism. Minimalism is an individual's extreme stinginess with time, emotions, and attention. Minimalism was born in response to the information age and consumerism, and it points to a more efficient life. Minimalism believes that people should only do what they think is meaningful and they like, and do their best. The popularity of minimalism is actually an action for people to guard their attention, money, and time. Sincerely thanks for your listening of my reading a book today, Minimalism. Sincerely thanks again.